Salutations and welcome to Shauna's Kitchen, where every day is a new day, and today we are going to make some iced oatmeal gingerbread cookies. We're going to be using 15 ingredients, and this is kind of one of my favorites. I only tend to do it in the holiday season. However, it's a great one because it's a dump and go. You will be putting it into the fridge and letting it get cold for 45 minutes, and then you can cook them or you can freeze them in ball shape for a later date. Either way is up to you. So we're going to get started. So the first thing I did is I melted 1.5 cups or 3 sticks of butter. You can use salted or unsalted. I have salted butter. The next thing, I have my stand mixer set up, and I have 3 1/3 cups of flour already in. And I'm going to be adding in to that 2 cups of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of white sugar, half a cup of white sugar, 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of molasses, unsulfured, 4 cups of oatmeal, as well as 4 teaspoons of ginger, 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. And then after we've actually baked and cooled them, we'll make the icing. And our icing will consist of powdered sugar as well as milk and that's it. Vanilla. I knew there was something else. Always the vanilla. We don't use vanilla in this cookie, so it kind of threw me off for a moment because I always use my vanilla. All right, so first, like I said, we have our flour already in, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to put in our 4 teaspoons. Notice I have a sieve up here. I'm going to just go ahead and sift my 4 teaspoons. Into my flour first. Three teaspoons of cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, not to be confused with baking powder. 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. I'm going to go ahead and sift that in there. And I'm going to use the back of my measuring spoon to just go ahead and get the rest of that in there for anything that didn't go through yet. And then there's a little bit that's left over in there. I'll try one more time. If it doesn't go through, in the garbage it goes. Alright, so we're going to set that aside. And I'm going to just go ahead and run that around together real quick. Alright, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in the 1/2 cup of white sugar, 2 cups of packed brown sugar that I made myself. And we're going to put in the rolled oats. Add my attachment. Let me get my lid. Okay, I have my lid for my mixer, and I'm just going to give it a gentle mix. So we still have our wet ingredients. I'm just kind of incorporating all of the dry real quick. And then we have the molasses, the 2 eggs that I mixed up, and then my 1.5 cups of butter. Alright. We're going to go ahead and get the butter added in there. And the 2 eggs. And last but not least, the molasses. All right. Get all the yummy goodness down in there. Now we're going to turn it up just for a moment. Medium. Get it incorporated. And now I'm going to go ahead and stop. Unlock. Take off our top. Unlock, of course. And bring all the yummy goodness down. Okay. Now I'm going to mix and reach way down into the bottom and double check to make sure that I don't have any of the other dry ingredients, such as the flour, still on bottom. Alright. Looks good. Oh, it smells wonderful. Alright. Love the smell of molasses. Okay, so now we're going to wipe that down. Like that. So as you can see, it is starting to get a nice consistency. We're just going to go ahead, drop it back in, and we're going to mix it for about another 15-20 seconds. And then we're going to take it off and put it into the, cover it, and put it into the fridge for 45 minutes to an hour before we get ready to cook them. And then while they're cooling, we'll make our icing. And this is a wonderful drop cookie. Just kind of drop it into the bowl and put together. It's not a lot of steps in going in a certain order. You just get your ingredients, dump and go. And I like that. The easier the better. Alright. Take this off. Excellent. Okay. That looks good to me. Alright, and here is our dough prior to putting it in the fridge for 45 minutes to an hour. As you can see, it does have a bit of a shape. My spatula stands. However, it still needs to be refrigerated so it does not spread. Scrape my yummy goodness together to the inside of my bowl here, off the edges, so that I'm not losing any of that when it refrigerates. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to put a piece of plastic wrap on it, and it's going in the fridge. I'll get back to you when it's time to bake. Okay, it's been over an hour now, and I have the cookies out on the parchment paper. Oven's preheated to 350. We're going to go ahead and put them in on the middle rack. I like to do my cookies one at a time, and we are going to be doing 12 or 13 minutes, so I'm going to check them at 11. We're getting a heck of a storm coming in. Husband's been out getting the generator ready to go, so we might lose power. So if we do, we're going out with the oven on. I have bread raisin in the background. Done this cookie dough while it was in the refrigerator for the hour. I made up another cookie dough, which is my chewy spiced pumpkin cookies, which have 11 different ingredients, and you can add in, it has 5 different add-in ingredients. They're super versatile. So while that was in the fridge, we went ahead and made them, baked them off, freezing them now for the holidays. Got the bread going, kitchen's cleaned up, and now I just got to wait for that bread to rise and my cookies to cook. I think I'm going to take half that cookie dough that we made here, and I'm going to dollop them onto trays and put them in the freezer and just let them freeze up, and then I'll just put them into a Ziploc, and I can bake them on a later date when I know the power is not going out, because I'm really going to want to get my bread into the oven and done before that happens. So, all right, they're in. I'll get back to you when they're out, and I'll show you what they look like and get ready to make the icing and show you how to do that while they're cooling. There goes our timer. There's our cookies. Now I'm going to slap them on the table behind me. But real quick, I decided to make another one, another batch. I'm going to go ahead and drop those into the oven because I have a few minutes before the bread goes in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop my cookies. And what that's going to do is to help them to be smaller. Or, excuse me, not to be smaller, but to drop thin so when we get ready to do the icing. Alright, so I'll get back to you. I'm going to get the ingredients together. We're going to make that icing, but these are way too hot, so we're going to give them a minute to cool. And then I'm going to pull them off of here and set them onto the tray. And at that time, we'll make our icing. Okay, we're getting ready to make the icing, and we're going to use 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. And then we are going to use 1/4 teaspoon of Grandma's vanilla extract. And then we're going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. So we're going to actually just start with 1. I'm using a whole milk, but it doesn't matter what kind of milk you use, as in 2% whole milk. And then you can use just a pinch of cinnamon and ginger, or you can use your allspice. Apparently I'm not going to reach in there so good. So I'm actually going to use my 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm going to just put a little dash in there. Maybe a little more than a dash. Alright, and now I'm just going to mix that up and see what it looks like. Now my cookies have completely cooled over here. Except that they're on the oven, and I still have that on because my bread is next. All right, I can see we're going to definitely need another tablespoon of milk. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you know anyone that might want to make these cookies, you can share this recipe with them, or if you like it, maybe like, share, tag, subscribe. We have lots of wonderful videos coming out. Alright, we're getting so close. Alright, so it ended up with 2 tablespoons of my milk here. Whole milk. Alright, and you kind of want it to look about like this consistency. Now you could use real vanilla bean if you wanted to or whatnot, but I'm actually not wanting the whole vanilla bean taste. So I'm going to start in the back, and you're just going to take your cookie. And now when you do this, you want to make sure that your container you're doing this in is flat, has a flat bottom, or at least big enough where your cookies are going to fit in. You're just going to set it in. Just like that. Now you can leave it like this, or you can garnish it with just a hint of cinnamon and ginger again, or you can leave it plain. You could add, for the holidays, a simple little glycerin of some sugar, colored sugar, if you wanted to. Alright, so there we go. Love to try one of these, even though they're not quite set up yet. Now you can put this in the refrigerator and let them set up quicker, which is what I'm actually going to end up doing. You may notice I have a parchment paper with my baking sheet underneath, and I do that so that it catches any of the drips. Oops, how do I put the cookie on? There we go. This is supposed to be an icing, so it is supposed to be a little dribbly. Well, I broke that one. I guess I know which one I'm going to eat first. Now I only did a half a batch on my icing because I wasn't planning to cook all of these today. Some are going in the freezer. The dough, the frozen dough, and some of the done cookies. Alright, we are so close. I'm actually going to be making up some more, looks like. Alright. Okay, so we're going to let that sit like that. I am going to make up a little bit more. However, these are obviously not set up, but the one I broke, I am going to go ahead and give it a taste. Mmm. The edges and the bottom are nice and crisp. The inside, super moist. Initially, you get the nice oatmeal taste, and then at the end, you get the extra kick of the spice with a little bit of sweetness from the icing. This is really good. I hope you give it a try, but I recommend letting them set up before you dig in like I did. Sometimes you just can't wait. Thank you. See you next time.